This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming with another edition of Movie Reviews and Observation number 19. Wow, 19. As I said before, pandemic shut down, watched the movies I had from the Skokie Public Library. Went to the Splains Library, took out enough, maybe for a month, didn't rush through them, knowing that I didn't have enough for more than 1 month. Then watched Hoopla, Canopy, occasional Netflix movie for my list, then Gujara, the site that I've been using. Now the library's been open, and I've been getting movies from them. Finished my 2019 list. Made a second one, and on that second one, there were movies that were added later to the Wikipedia page or coming to home video. Some the library owned, some the library didn't own, and once they didn't own, it was no guaranteed that they had them. And the first movie I watched was a movie with Ethan Hawke. Everybody knows him. Chris Sullivan, people know him, and Christopher Hyadrell, people know him. And it was called Adopt a Highway. It was slowly moving, even though it's an hour and 20 something minutes. Under an hour, 27 minutes, an hour, like 18 minutes at most, it said. But it was just odd. The script wasn't that great. It wasn't like fully formed ideas. But this is what it looks like. It's Ethan Hawke looking like he just came out of prison, called Adopt a Highway. He basically spent the last 20 plus years in prison for a marijuana charge because he was his third strike. And back then, once your third strike, you got to spend 20 years no matter what, even though they changed the rules. And he comes out, doesn't know about cell phones or computer. He works a dead-end restaurant job while on parole, and he finds a baby in a dumpster. That starts off a bunch of stuff. He finds out his father died, and even though they said you can't leave the county because you're still on parole, and then it sees him trying to go to Wyoming, and I'm just confused because this movie is all over the place. And I also didn't see Christopher Hyadrell in the movie when I was watching it. I don't know who he was playing, but yeah, I would not watch Adopt a Highway. The only solace of this is it was short, so it didn't take up much of your time. Then the next movie I watched was another drama that was in the hour and 27 minute range called The Kill Team. And one of the many reasons that I watched this movie was because I'm a huge fan of Nat Wolff from Naked Brothers Band Music and all the other movies. And Alexander Skarsgård was one of the main characters. And it was based like of a true story where he's special ops, they get a new leader, and that new leader tells them to do a bunch of stuff, and it's, questionable if you need to kill civilians and do all this stuff. It's like they're the enemy. Nat Wolff's character wants to report on the thing, but then the guy threatens him, so it continues happening, and he then also gets in trouble because he was following his orders because he was afraid he was going to be going to prison for that and stuff. And then a character from Nancy Drew, the guy who plays Nick, he was in the movie briefly, so it was a pretty good movie. Not that long, based off a true story. Nat Wolff did a really, really good job in the movie, so I'd suggest to watch The Kill Team. Then the next movie I watched was another Nicolas Cage movie. I saw another one, it wasn't that great. This one was called Primal. And all the people that like the Netflix Joe Dirt stuff, you may like this. He finds a rare white leopard or jaguar, whatever, because he hunts animals for zoos. Top bidder gives him stuff. He's trying to get in the United States illegally from the South America into United States. So he's using a boat. There's monkeys, there's snakes, there's birds, there's everything. Happens to be the U.S. Marshals also want to use this boat to transport a really bad operative who went rogue and was working for South America and all the other people, played by Kevin Sarge Duran. He kind of looks like a bad guy. To his credit, he was in a lot of movies playing bad people, so, I've seen him doing it before. So, he's on the ship, he has a condition, so they can't fly. The doctor is also in the military, is played by Famke Janssen, if you know her from being Jean Grey. I just saw her in a movie also this week and recently, so I keep seeing her pop up in some of these movies that nobody's ever heard of. She's supposed to watch his monitor system. LaMonica Garrett from Designated Survivor, and the Arrowverse is the anti-monitor and the monitor. He's the marshal. They got all other people in the movie that you may have seen before that are people that work for the boat, whatnot. Of course, the guy breaks free, and you know what happened. Everybody is in trouble because he's killing all the marshals, all the people that run the boat. He lets all the animals loose. Some of them are poisonous, some of them thing. And of course, all the marshals can't stop the guy. And of course, Nicolas Cage got to save the day because he's a hunter after working for the zoos before. So he's got to, of course, hunt the bad guy who's trying to kill everybody and let loose all of his animals. And I liked it because it was like one of those older Nicolas Cage movies that was what his thing was, where he's saving the day. Good actors in the movie, he saves the day, very good. And Michael Imperioli's in the movie, and he also is playing like a lawyer, but then he's not, so it's pretty interesting. Wasn't that long, 7 minutes, so pretty good cast with Cage, Jansen, Durand, Garrett, and Imperioli. And Nicolas Cage, the whole entire movie is made so he can save the day, because he's not going to make the movie. Then the next movie I watched was called The Standoff at Sparrow Creek. And it was like a thriller, suspense, them changing it up. Like there was plot twists, things were confusing. There's like a militia group. Cops are dead at a funeral. And they think it's a militia person. And they got a group of people who have just had ordinary jobs as part of the militia. And one of them is a former cop. And he's trying to figure out who was the person that did it. Blah, 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 blah. There are actors in this movie that people have seen before. The main character is played by James Badge Dale. People have seen him before in 24. And then people have seen Patrick Fischler. I just saw him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's been in a lot of stuff. People have seen Happy Anderson. And, yeah, there's a bunch of actors in here where you've noticed their face before, but not their names. And for a movie that's an hour and 27 minutes, it moved pretty quickly because of suspense. Which one of them is the killer? What's happening? What's going on? The guy has a brother in the thing, so it's very interesting. I would watch it. There's suspense. It's not that long. It's an hour 20 minutes. So do watch Standoff at Sparrow Creek. It was pretty interesting. Then I watched a horror type of film where this girl claims that her boyfriend, who passed away 5 years ago, is the father of her baby. So she visits the brother and the mother. The mother goes, the father's not here. We got divorced years ago. Don't be playing with me that it's my dead son's baby. It's, Nick Robinson from lots of good movies like Love, Simon, The Fifth Wave, King of Summer. He's the brother. He's there home on crutches, so that makes an added thing. Pregnant woman, guy on crutches. The mother, Amy Ryan, is not happy about all this. The brother's looking into it to see if it's real. The father's a real jerkwad, left the wife, got remarried. And you find out all these things. And it was really stupid and strange how she's living on this farm. These old people are watching her. She doesn't know how she's pregnant. She has these blackout spells. The old man has secrets. So does the father, that he's supplying money. And Nick Robinson does a great job in his role. And it's tragic that his brother died. Prom night, blah, blah, blah. But it was, Like, Blythe Danner was a good actress in this movie. Brian Cox did a good job. Like, it was a good cast of people, but it was a very strange, like the movie title was, Strange But True, of things that are happening, and just when you find out the truth, it's really disgusting. I know it's based off a novel, but sorry to the actors in the movie, like Danner, Cox, Kinnear, Jessup, Amy Ryan, Margaret Qualley. It's only really Nick Robinson, like a lot of these movies, where he's like the main guy in the movie. He's trying to figure out, is it true it's his brother's dead child, his dead brother's kid, all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. And he does a very good job. But overall, really weird, creepy, disgusting movie when you figure everything out. Don't waste your time watching it. Now, the next movie I watched was not a movie. It was a TV show based off the movie's franchise, How to Train Your Dragon, where the dragons have moved on. They moved on. Their kids are afraid or want to kill them, so they want to show how they like them. And the dragons come back, so it's cute, a little emotional. Very good. The whole cast is there. They're all grown up. Only 27 minutes. Your kids will love it. Next thing I watched was Poison Rose. And you're thinking, wow, John Travolta has hair. It's fake. Morgan Freeman. Brandon Fraser's in this movie. And I just saw Famke Jensen, who was just with the Nicolas Cage movie. She plays Travolta's ex-wife, where he leaves this town of Galveston, Texas. And he's got to go back on a case. And he sees all of his people, like Morgan Freeman's his friend. And other people in the movie as well, like Peter Strahm is his friend, but he's a shady guy. And it's, sorry to Brandon Fraser, but he played a fat, balding doctor who looks like his better days have been behind him, and he's creepy. There's this premise that he used to be a football player and he was cheating, and there's all these other people that from his past, his friend's daughter, his ex-girlfriend, as I say, Famke Jensen is this girlfriend, and there's shady business people and things like that. And he's a private investigator, so there are people from California who are trying to kill him. So they got that plot. They got his ex-girlfriend plot. They got his friend, one of his friends maybe being shady. because he's out there to, investigate something. And it was so confusing. It was all over the place. And it was supposed to be like a mystery, suspense, trying to figure something out. But it was just way too much drama going on. There's a new football player having to be married to his ex-wife's daughter. And there's a murder involved. It's just all over the place. And no offense to Morgan Freeman, John Travolta. And why did Brandon Fraser have to waste his time in this movie? I understand Peter Straumer's in a lot of odd movies. Frankie and Jensen's in a lot of movies. And also, he also somehow went to school with Robert Patrick. Robert Patrick and Morgan Freeman, I feel like. So he's 61, Robert Patrick. Morgan Freeman is 83. And John Travolta is 66. So maybe Patrick and Travolta did go to college together, or high school. Morgan Freeman's way too old to have gone to school with them. And yeah, so it was a really weird movie. And with way too many things happening and going on. But yeah, so yeah, it had a nice ending to the movie, but I wouldn't suggest watching The Poison Rose. Next we watch was if you like martial art films with characters of all races fighting each other. British, American, African American, guys with cauliflower ears, and Asian people from all different countries fighting. It was so confusing. Mercenaries, hired guns, villagers, this businesswoman who you can trust. And it was cool fighting action, seeing a lot of, gore and killing going on. And if you're familiar with Michael Jai White from the Arrowverse, Bronze Tiger, that was cool to see him. Scott Adkins, who's been in a bunch of action movies like, Accident Man in general. Pretty good. Yeah, and a lot of these characters people have seen before. But it's confusing. Who's the good guys? Who's the bad guys? Of course, you don't want this random lady to be killed. It was only an hour and, 30-something minutes. Wasn't that bad. But then when the movie's over, characters it seem like they've known each other, some of them. But, you have to be on the running gag. They've worked together before. So, and then also when the characters don't speak in English, when this is like an English movie, it would be helpful if you have subtitles. But yeah, so Triple Threat is good if you like martial art action films, a lot of gore, blood, people killing. You're familiar with these action stars from Asia or Michael Jai White or Scott Adkins. So, yeah, so it was okay. It caught my attention. There was enough action going on in it. So, yeah, so watch Triple Threat. It was worthwhile to watch. Do not watch The Poison Rose all over the place. How to Train Your Dragon, Homecoming thing, pretty good. Little short story to the franchise. Strange But True was weird and disgusting when you find out what's actually happening. The stand-up is very creepy because of all the interesting plots going on, plot twists, and just suspense in the movie keeps you going. You don't know what's going to happen. It's not a movie where you know what's going to happen. Like, there are some movies when you watch them and stuff, you say to yourself, I already know. It's so cliche. I know exactly what's going to happen. In this one, you couldn't tell what's going to happen. And the movie Primal, y'all know only Nicolas Cage is going to be in a movie try to save the day, but great cast. Him action movie, him save the day, wild animal. Lots of famous actors in this movie from things you've seen before. And on my luck, I see 2 movies with Famke Janssen in 1 week. The Kill Team, based off a true story, now puts on a great performance. So does Alexander Skarsgård. Great movie, not that long. It's definitely watchable. Top the Highway was weird. Really loosely written and plot together. And yes, people in the movie like Chris Friedel, Chris Sullivan were in the movie. And of course, Ethan Hawke was in the movie. But it was a really flimsy script. Not a lot to go on. A little bit confusing how all the events happened. That's why it was an hour and 18 minutes, because there's not a lot to go on in this movie. Thank you for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observation number 19. For On the Radar Entertainment Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.